Alright, hello friends and welcome back to another vlog. We do have a lot of things to talk about in the beginning here because it's been a couple of days since I last vlogged, but it's currently almost midnight. It's 11:59, the 8th of November. I got my final 3 library books from the library finally, so to go along with Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands and Assistant to the Villain, I got Credence by Penelope Douglas, The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker, and The Ashes in the Star-Cursed King by Carissa Broadbent. All of these books that I got were pretty much because I had already known the title, and I figured if they're coming from the library, I might as well try them out. Didn't really know too much about them. The Ashes in the Star-Cursed King and Emily Wilde's Map to the Otherlands are sequels of books that I have read, so I'm kind of the most excited for those two. But last vlog we ended up with me being almost near the end of this book, but I didn't quite finish it, so I wanted to let you guys know my thoughts on this as a little reminder of what it's about. Our main character, Evie, she's just kind of walking through the woods one day when she finds the villain, who's like the bad guy in the kingdom. She happens to get caught up in him trying to escape from the king's guards. She happens to say something about how she needs a job. Not really like expecting anything to come out with it. It's just kind of, casual conversation. She's looking for a job. Then the villain's like, congratulations, you're my personal assistant now. This book, I've heard a lot of people online say that it's not funny and that they didn't like it. And I think that's solely because, based off of the title alone, they were probably expecting it to be a little bit more dark and not as silly and goofy as it was. Like, I feel like they had higher expectations for this and wasn't expecting it to be such just a casual book as it was, where there wasn't really any high stakes. It was just there to be silly. But I really enjoyed the humor in this. Just really loved the way that it was written. I did find that some of the plot and the things that happened in it were too coincidental and too surface level. I would have liked to go into some of the things a little bit deeper, but I was having a good time with the story and the way that it was portrayed. Evie's job, her working for the villain, and everything that went on. There is a sequel to this. I think there's 4 books in the series, but only the first 2 are currently out. Once I'm done with all these books, I'm going to get the sequel to this as well because I really enjoyed it. Not my favorite book in the world, but still enjoyable. I liked it. Then, pretty much all day today, I have been reading Credence by Penelope Douglas. Like, I'm currently on page 456 and I started it today. So I read 456 pages today. Listen, if you've read this book or you know what this book is about, you're already laughing at me. But this book is about this girl. She's 17. Her parents are very popular in like the movie industry. They find out that her dad has terminal cancer, and so they get in bed together, they cuddle up, and they both commit suicide, leaving her all alone in the world. Yikes. Her mother was an orphan who had no family, and her father only had like a stepbrother that he wasn't all that big of a fan of, but with him being her only living family, she goes to live with him and his 2 sons. And then they start like getting in relationships, and I'm like, girl, that is your family. Y'all are related. That's weird. I was originally really enjoying the way that just the main character herself was portrayed, because her parents really loved each other. And like it's said in the book, they pretty much only had a kid because that's what was expected of them. And when they found out that having a kid was taking too much of their attention away from each other, they sent her to boarding schools and they sent her to summer camps and anything that they could do so they wouldn't have to interact with her. And so, like, she has these moments of questioning why. Like, they didn't even leave her a note or tell her that they were going to do any of this. They just kind of did it. She woke up one morning and her life's suddenly all changed. Her questioning why, her trying to find her place in this world. I was just really enjoying the character development originally in this. Kept reading for some reason. It's like a train crash where you cannot look away. You know it's terrible, and yet you've got to read until the very end. I will say the further we get into this book, though, the more, like, I'm not enjoying it. I feel like it needs a little bit more detail, because originally, so there's 3 of them, and she's originally like bouncing between 3 of them, not really choosing one, but she does eventually choose one. And it's not so much that I want to know why him specifically, I want to know why not the other 2. I feel like in order to really make this book hit, I guess, in order to make this book be more impactful, more well-rounded, the question's not really why is she into him in particular, and more why not the other 2. I think that would really help her relationships with the other 2 platonically and really help round out the book as a whole. But for some reason I'm still reading it despite the fact that, like, this is, if I knew what this was about before I picked it up, I would not have picked it up. I could remember the name, the title, I could remember the cover, and I was like, sure, why not? It's a library book. If I don't like it, then I could always just give it back. So I'm probably going to finish it up tonight before bed because I don't have that much left. And even then, everything that you see right here, there's like a bonus chapter and extra stuff. I think in total it's 520 pages. So I have about 70 left to read. I can finish that by tonight. And then tomorrow I can work on The Simple Wild. What is it about? No idea. I'm kind of scared because I feel like these 2 are similar in my mind, but we'll see tomorrow. I'll let you know how the rest of Credence goes.
Do not lick book. Not for licking. You freak.
Okay, so a few conversations on books. I feel like that's all I really do in these videos is just talk about what books that I'm reading, and I should perhaps do something else, but I'm in a really big reading mood right now, you know? Listen, that's what we're focused on right now, because that's all I want to do right now. So I finished Credence. Not really too much to say on the final 100 pages. Like I said before, I kind of wish that it focused a little bit more on the relationships, which seems like a weird thing to say about this book. But for example, she does pick one of the three to be with, like, forever. And I would have rather she focused a little bit more on explaining why she wasn't choosing the other two and her platonic relationships with them. Like, one thing that I really enjoyed was her relationship with Noah and how they acted a little bit more like siblings, which is maybe a weird thing to say, but you know what? There's a lot of really weird dynamics in this, so we might as well just go all out. And I would have liked if we focused just a little bit more on that, or her and Jake, who was her step-uncle. I wish that we focused a little bit more on the familial aspects of that and him being kind of like a father figure to her. But I did enjoy this a lot more than I was expecting to. Like, why? I pretty much just picked this up because I knew the title. You know, going through a list of books kind of quickly, seeing titles that you're like, I remember seeing that title before, and then actually getting it in real life and being like, oh no, why this? But I did actually enjoy myself with this, and I'm kind of scared, so we're not going to talk about that anymore. Instead, as you saw earlier today, I picked up The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. I read the first 100-ish pages. I think I got to like page 98, and then I was like, okay, I'm done. This is the story of a girl named Kala. I had to look and see what her name was. A lot of really bad things happen to her all on the same day. She gets fired. She finds out that her father has cancer. She finds out that her boyfriend doesn't technically actually cheat on her, but he's definitely thinking about it. She finds him, like, in the act of setting it up, basically. So things aren't perhaps going very well for her. Because her father has cancer, she decides to visit him. He lives in Alaska, which, like, she was born in Alaska, but she lives in Canada. So she goes to Alaska to visit him. One immediate thing that I didn't like about this book, and the main reason why I decided not to continue on with it, is that she's talking on the phone to this woman who's like her father's assistant / neighbor / co-worker kind of thing. And the assistant is going, oh yeah, like, he's really excited for you to come here. We have it all set up and everything. We can't wait for you to be here. And then she gets there and she finds out that her dad actually didn't know that she was coming until like the night before. And I just wasn't a big fan of that for a book that's going to be so focused on the relationship between her and her dad and them kind of meeting each other for the first time, because she moved away from him when she was like 1.5, getting to know each other while he has this cancer scare. I didn't like him not actually wanting her to come. Like, he could have. To be fair, I only read the first 100 pages. He could be excited for her to be there, but he's just not showing it. I was like, okay. Another thing that I really didn't like is that she's very much a city girl. And so she enjoys, you know, makeup and good clothes and coffee with soy milk. And in Alaska, especially in this small town, Alaska, that her father lives in, none of that is of any importance to anybody else. Like, for example, the soy milk thing, they can't get really a lot of groceries because the only way in and out of the city is with planes. And so they have to kind of be choosy with what they import because they don't have that much room to import. And so it's just not a good fit for her, and it's very obvious that she's not really going to enjoy herself in that sort of area. And, you know, a good way to contrast it is actually with Credence, because we have kind of similar main characters. They're both a little bit more on the rich side. Tiernan, the main character of this book, her parents worked in the movie industry, and so not only is she rich, but she's also famous. But she never enjoyed living in the city. She never enjoyed having all of these material possessions. She didn't really care about what she had. She just wanted love, and she wanted to have a place in the world. And so her moving into a small town in the middle of nowhere was a good fit for her. Whereas in this, the main character feels like the opposite. She is a little bit more of a fan of material objects. She's a little bit more of a fan of the big city life. And so her living in this small town in Alaska is a weird fit for her. I don't feel like she belongs there in the same way that I feel like Tiernan belongs in this small town. And not to say that one is better than the other, because I feel like that could be a discussion there too, and you might be thinking, I enjoyed this book more than I did this book, despite the fact that the characters are very similar, just because I enjoyed the topic of like small town living and not having such an importance on what you own, but rather like the relationships. Either way, depending on who you are, you know, what you want is what you want, and that's cool. But I just don't feel like this sort of small town setting is what the main character wants, and I don't want to read her in that setting because it's so out of character for her. It's so different from everything that she knows, and I don't feel like it fits her. So, I don't know, I got 98 pages in, and then I was like, I don't really like it. I'm also not the biggest fan of the fact, I realized this after I started reading it, this is the first book in a 4-book series, and this book itself is 400 pages. Like, you cannot possibly have to say that much about this story that it goes over 4 books. That's like 1,600 pages if we assume that each book is around 400 pages long. That just screams like a story where we're just dragging out the dramatics just so we can have dramatics. So the next book that I'm going to pick up is The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King by Carissa Broadbent. This is the second book in the Crowns of Nyaxia, I don't know how to pronounce it, series. I read the first one probably about this time last year, and I really enjoyed it, so I'm really excited to get into this. I literally have not started though. My bookmark's on the first page, and I read the first sentence, but that's about as far as I got. But I didn't feel like reading today. Honestly, I read the first 100 pages of that, and then I was like, I'm kind of done. What I really feel like tonight is grabbing my Steam Deck and playing some games, which I know that I need to do game stuff for my gaming channel. I have a few videos that I recorded last night that I need to edit now. But I'm thinking of maybe doing that tomorrow, earlier in the day, and spending tonight just playing games for myself. I feel like that would be nice. So, I had to take my dogs to the vet, not for anything bad, just like vaccines and stuff. I was originally planning on maybe taking a couple of clips here and there and just recording what I could since I was out. Maybe we'd have different scenery. That didn't happen. Listen, imagine in your brain a car full of 7 dogs, Some of them are good. I will give them that. Some of them aren't. And then going and getting, they had to get 3 shots. It was a whole thing. Maybe not the best time to vlog, but I did. I was out in the world, I promise you. And that is surprisingly very tiring to have to wake up early in the morning to go do that. I pretty much passed out the second that I got back home. Did a little bit of reading today. I am currently 50 pages of the way through The Something in the Star-Cursed King. I forgot what it's called. It's over there. I'm never gonna remember. And honestly, I'm not sure how I feel about it because it's the sequel to a book that I absolutely loved, rated at 5 stars. I read it a year ago, and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I don't remember a lot of the little details. I remember mostly what it's about. The main character's name is Araya, and she wants to complete in this thing called the Kajari in order to get a wish granted by their goddess. And so it's a little bit, I don't really necessarily want to say Hunger Games-y because it's not, but it reminds me a little bit of every single other book that is either Hunger Games-esque or Divergent-esque. Reminds me a little bit of, what is that book that I recently read called? Fourth Wing? A little bit, that same sort of vein. And I think because those sorts of books are all so similar, it's difficult to remember which ones are which, but I do remember there was something extremely shocking that happened at the end of that book, and I was really excited to get into the sequel, and now I'm just kind of like, I don't know, I'm not feeling it. And I was really excited to get into it. But I am also only 50 pages in, so hopefully it gets better. Hopefully, because I was really hoping that this would be good. I just finished editing the last vlog a little bit late, a few days late, but that's fine. Like I've been saying, this is more of like a side channel where I'm not putting too much effort into it. And so I'm not setting goals for myself, and then when I don't meet those goals being like, oh man, feeling really bad about them. Just sort of, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'll get around to it eventually. I recorded, so originally I was going to record a couple of videos for my video game channel, and then I just was in this game and I recorded 2 hours of it. I only really needed to record maybe another 15 minutes. It's for Dreambound, and behind the scenes, you guys who have like been watching that, if you guys are watching that, you might not have really been noticing, but I've been doing those over multiple days. So I record a little bit on this day, and then that's enough for a couple videos. And then the next time that I need to record, I'm maybe halfway through a video. So I just pick it up where it left off, but like it's not noticeable that I'm picking it up on a new day. And so I had that one of those things where I only needed probably about 15 minutes left of a video before I could say it was done. And I recorded for 2 hours because I was just in this moment where I felt like I couldn't leave it, and it was a 2 hour long moment, so I didn't get any other recording stuff done tonight. And that's a little bit scary because I had things that I needed to do, but also simultaneously it does mean that I have a lot of Dreambound content, and eventually I need to do that anyway. So I also, it's so sad, every single time that I take a note for a video game, I've been writing it on the same sticky note, and now it's full. I can't write literally anything else on it. So I'm quite upset that now I have to start a new sticky note, but that's okay. I also have this one. From a long time ago, I was drawing a games map. I don't need it anymore. Otherwise, I feel kind of bad because like I haven't really done anything today for the vlog, but simultaneously, I'm tired. I woke up at 12:30 today. Like PM, noon 30. today. Like, I can vaguely remember turning off my alarm when it went off this morning, I think. And the next thing I know, it's like 12:30-ish. It was a little bit after 12:30, but you get the point. I just can't believe that I slept that long. Like, that's crazy to me. But luckily, I guess, there wasn't really anything that I needed to do today. I spent a little while editing some videos last night. I don't remember whether or not I told you this. I don't remember what I told you last night just before going to bed. I was recording for Dreambound. I only needed to record maybe 15 minutes or so, and I ended up recording 2 hours. So I edited 2/3 of that. And then I was just kind of like, I'm tired of editing. Like, my eyes are tired. I don't want to look at my screen anymore. And I figured 2 out of 3 videos is pretty good. So I stopped that for now. And I'm debating what to do right now because I've been really on a kick recently of replaying Our Life, Beginnings and Always. I'm about to get to the epilogue. And so I kind of want to play that, but I'm also kind of like, I've played a lot of that recently. Listen, behind the scenes, I haven't told you guys, but like, I've been playing that a lot recently. I could read my library books. I probably should read my library books. Another thing that I want to do is I've always had this idea of grabbing some green yarn and crocheting like these leafy vines, I guess. I don't really know what to call them, but decorating this wall behind me with there's some vine strands, leaf strands, whatever. And I recently thought that'd be a good idea too for when I post about what books I've been reading online, because I'm trying to get back into that as well. My dog is barking in the background. Ignore her. I was just casually, it's something that I enjoy doing, just casually chatting about the books that I read online. Obviously in these vlogs, you know that because I keep telling you guys about the books that I'm reading. And I really like taking pictures outside in nature, but I don't often go outside. I'm such a homebody that like I don't even often go out into my own backyard. And so I thought that having those crocheted leaf vine things would be an interesting thing to put in the photos and also make my room look nice. So I need to do that at some point, but I don't know. Right now I'm just kind of like, I don't know that I feel like doing anything. I feel like this vlog has been so slow and sleepy. I'm having a slow and sleepy couple days. It doesn't take too long to make, luckily, and I think this is a good length. I based it off of, the top of the wall to about here on the wall because I didn't want it to be too far down, but I figured make a bunch of these in a bunch of different colors. This one was in this color, then I have this one, so you can see they're kind of different. If you get stuck on that one more time, I swear to God, I have this color, just a bunch of different green colors. I think it would look nice. So last night I had to charge my camera, which is why that last clip, girl, go lay down, which is why that last clip ended off somewhat abruptly. I had like 5% left of my camera, so I had to plug it in real quick. I played some more video games, recorded. I ended up finishing Portal Stories Mel last night, which was very surprising because I guess I didn't think it was ever going to end. But I finished that off, and now it's a new day. And I need to end this vlog because it's not supposed to continue on today. Yesterday was supposed to be the last day. So, yeah, I definitely feel like this vlog was a little bit more slow. Though we did talk about a lot of books, I figure. But I don't know, maybe it's just my memories. Maybe when I'm editing it, I'll be like, oh my god, there's so much that happened in this. But I feel like it's been a slow past couple of days. But I need to end out this vlog here. My dog just groaned. So thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. And I will see you next time for more of my life. I really need to figure out a new outro just specifically for this channel because that one just does not work very well.